Let me tell you something that nobody says out loud. If you want to become a different person, you are going to have to brainwash yourself. Because right now, you've already actually been brainwashed. Throughout your entire life, you have been brainwashed unknowingly, subconsciously by your parents, by society, by culture, by school, by algorithms, by the online business industry, by fear. You didn't consciously decide to accept the conditioning that you received from all of those mediums. The good news is, once you have awareness, you realize you can change any conditional programming that you have. So you have goals that you want to achieve, or you have goals that you haven't even said that you were going to actually commit to yet, because that conditioning has already programmed you to believe that that's not even something you should like waste your time trying to go after. But here's the thing, because you think that it's a matter of like rising to the goal. That's not it. You want to rise to the identity. So when you think about your goals and when you think about the things that you want, you have to understand that that version of you, that she thinks differently. She moves differently. She makes decisions faster. Not, big decisions like buying a house or something, but there's a difference between waiting on a decision for it to be what you know to be right, and I mean like in your core, versus you just twiddling your thumbs. And she does not negotiate with doubt the same way, because that doubt, even though it's gonna creep up, it will creep up, but the relationship that you have with it, how you navigate with it, that's the difference. You cannot wait to just feel like her. You have to train yourself to becoming her. So there are three things that I want you to consider changing. And I'm so serious. And the first one is changing what you consume. And it matters. And I don't even mean just not consuming things that feel negative or disempowering. Sometimes even the very things that could feel empowering are also hindering you. And there's a lady on TikTok, I wish I could remember her name or her handle, but she was talking about this also, and that she had to stop consuming so much luxury lifestyle content. Even though it's great to see, it can be, inspiring, but the reality of living that type of life, and I don't really like to, when we talk about things that are like being realistic and stuff, like there's so much nuance to that. But what she was saying is it started to make her feel like that was the kind of life that she needed to live in order to feel fulfilled. That's the kind of woman that she had to be in order to feel grounded in herself and things like that. And so be cautious on both ends of what it is that you are consuming. How do you feel after you actually consume a piece of content, right? Like, and I want you to actually like take those moments when you swipe away from it. It's like, oh, why did I swipe away from this because I don't really like it? Like, how do I feel? What do you start to think about yourself? What do you start to even think about others? Yeah, 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 yeah. Because we're talking about character here, right? The second thing I want you to consider changing is changing what you repeat. Repetition is how we change the subconscious program. It's how you got here now, right? I talked about all the various ways that you were programmed, right? You were conditioned, your parents, school, society, da 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 da. And it wasn't that the conditioning happened from just one thing. These were principles that were taught to you either directly or indirectly over and over and over and over again. That's when it got locked in, that repetition. And so if you want to start to change that and become who it is that you really want to be, you too are going to have to play the game of repetition. And I recommend like starting off small, right? What you repeat matters. So this could look like you creating useful habits where every morning when you go to get your coffee, you sit down and you start reading for 10 minutes. Read while you are waiting for the coffee to brew, right? And let that be something that you allow yourself to do every morning. If that's in alignment with who it is that you truly desire to be. But the repetition can also look like what you do when things happen and they are unfavorable. They are not desirable. You know, there might be a version of you now that will snap, crackle, and pop. It's going to be through the repetition of and responding instead of reacting. And response can look however you ideally want response to look, or you can work your way up to it, right? Response in the beginning could look like you need to go walk into a different room, or you need to separate yourself from somebody, and work your way up to you being able to just literally have a calm, grown ass conversation, right? Where at this point, your nervous system is so regulated that what used to feel like confrontation before does not feel like that. It just feels like, oh, okay, we're just having an open, honest conversation. Repetition could also look like, just how maybe you show up in your business, right? Like if you start to feel maybe flustered or like overwhelmed because you have all these things to do on your task list and your default is to, I don't know, go do something. Maybe you have a vice that you reach for, or you just allow yourself to kind of spiral a bit and feel really anxious in your body. And that repetition could become, when you start feeling like that, you start tapping, right? EFT. You start tapping your way through it, which is a healthier way to move through maybe that anxiety and overwhelm that you are feeling. Figure out for yourself what it is that you want to start repeating that's going to lock into your subconscious, that's going to support you becoming who it is that you want to be. The third thing that I want you to consider changing is what it is that you tolerate. I don't always fully believe that how we do one thing is how we do everything, but I have seen correlations between the type of woman who would go to a hair salon or go to a nail salon, not like what was done for their service, and then still thank them, pay, tip, and then go home, to being the same type of person that would pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to be in a container, a program, a mastermind, a group coaching space, whatever, not like something that was either maybe said to them, maybe deliverables aren't showing up or whatever, and will still get up there, I love you so much, I love your trainings, but then secretly behind closed doors be irritated instead of being the person that opens their mouth. So tolerating getting less than what you assume to be the bare minimum, or at least the standard, and keeping your mouth shut. Bookie, no. Now I'm not saying go be a bitch. You might have that phase. I think a lot of us go through that phase. We have our bitch phase. We have that phase where we're trying to lock that in, and it can really come off like we just a bitch. We ask for grace and forgiveness. So yeah, what is it that you're tolerating? And and that's just one example, but it could be that maybe you're tolerating not being supported in your everyday life by your partner. Is it time that you had a conversation, that you let some things be known instead of bottling it in? Because I can almost bet that the woman that you're wanting to step into is self-expressed, that she uses that throat chakra. She uses that, honey. And again, not to be a bitch, not to be mean, not to put people down, but because she set a standard for herself, she set a standard for her life, and she's not accepting less than that. If you do not intentionally, on purpose, reprogram yourself, you will default to the version of you that was socially acceptable. And if you want to build from that level of identity, from who you are becoming, then I invite you to come hang out with us inside of the Magnetic Visibility Circle. And if you want to really lock in, upgrade to premium, there is the Brain Magic Mastery private podcast that has over 8 hours of subconscious reprogramming audios that I created as a master certified clinical hypnotherapist. So, yeah, identity shifting is definitely one of those categories that we have hypnosis audios for, and I'm telling you, you would love them. And if you ever have these moments where you feel like you're just putting way too much pressure on yourself, and you have these moments where you feel like you about to crash out, then I want you to watch this video next where I share my personal experience with that exact same thing and how I'm moving through it and navigating through it so that I can release that pressure that I am putting onto myself. I'll see you over there.